The full uncensored video of the murder in New York of the leftist activist has been released. I am not going to play the full video. There are some things that I will show, and there is a censored version that is being released in the media. But with this new information, we are now seeking the murderer, and the police are putting a call to try and discover who this person is. But with these details, there is a lot to be said. There's a lot to be said. Now, you may be asking yourselves, when I talk about me having very little sympathy for those who live in these cities after all this stuff is happening, they keep voting for this. People say, it's not the way, Tim. You can't think that way. I have sympathy for people who are stuck in these cities and are trying to make it work. Totally get it. I have respect for people who are in these cities fighting the fire. I do not have sympathy for the people who vote these policies in, don't know how to act. I got to talk about this video. You know why? You want to know why? Because of this article. Father of 3 on way to high school reunion is killed by career criminal, cops say. Now, I don't know who this guy is. A prominent Tennessee businessman was shot and killed by a man with 66 prior arrests on his way to attend his high school class's 20th anniversary reunion. Christopher Wright, 38 years old, was in downtown Chattanooga on Thursday to meet up with his alumni from his school when he got into an argument with Darryl Roberts, a career criminal known as Too Tall. Surveillance of the incident shows Wright, a father of 3, talking to Roberts, 57, and another man before walking away. Wright then turns around to say something to the two men, with Roberts reacting by walking up to him and firing his gun at Wright's head. Wright was rushed to a hospital where he died. Look, man, I'm going to give this guy, it's a sad story. I'm going to give him some criticism as well. Anybody who's learning about conflict resolution, survival, combat, etc. And I got to tell you, man, I can't speak for MMA fighters, UFC guys, but in my experience, having talked to them, these guys have said to me, don't fight, man. We don't want to fight. In my experience, many of the people I know who are fighters try as hard as possible not to fight because they get it. One of the first things you are trained on when you're learning how to win a fight or defend yourself is any fight you can flee from is a fight you've won, or any fight you do flee from. So my point is this. This father of 3 should not be killed like this. I don't think he's in the same vein as these leftist activists who advocate for social workers or whatever. So this is the problem I have with these leftist activists who think all they need is a social worker. I watched this video of the leftist activist being killed, and there's so much that infuriates me. He should not have lost his life. I feel bad. I don't want anybody to lose their lives. I'm against the death penalty. I say it all the time. But at a certain point in this video, I'll describe it, okay? Because, there's some fighting and stuff like that. If you really want to watch the video, you can find it. It's all over Twitter. But I'm not here to show a video. I'm not here to do shotgun. I'm here to talk about what people need to understand. I watched there's a very famous viral video of a martial arts master, black belt. And he says, I will teach you the one technique to win any fight. With one move, you will win every fight you are in. And all these students are around and they're watching this master, and he walks up and he does the thing. And then he runs and waves his arms in the air, frantic in the other direction. And everyone busts out laughing. Then he comes back in and he says, if you can run from a fight, you do it. Any fight you flee from is a fight you've won, because you don't want to fight. You don't. If you don't have to fight, don't do it. There are certain fights you can't run from. Someone's got a hostage. Someone's threatening to hurt someone else, and you act in defense of others. There's a little bit of this in this story. But with this story and with this video about this guy here, I'll scroll down, and here's the victim and his girlfriend. She's probably torn up. She obviously is. I feel bad for her, obviously, but I have criticisms. I just do. I'm sorry. This is who they're looking for. Wanted for murder. Field information needed. This guy needs to be arrested. We need the police to do their job and find this guy. And it is ironic that a leftist activist whose advocacy, whether directly or indirectly, leads to the police being neutered as such and demonized and villainized, we now need them so desperately. In this video, I am deeply offended by what I see. These people think they live in this golden world of safety, skittles, and rainbows, but the world is a harsh, unfair beast. This man with the hood up walks past the couple who are sitting on a bus bench facing the sidewalk around 4 a.m. I believe it was 4 a.m. The man walks past them and he looks over at them and keeps walking. They are oblivious. They don't look at all towards the man. They just sit there. They then, within a few seconds after he's walked halfway down the street, get up and begin to walk in his direction without paying attention to who just walked past them, without thinking about anything. As they approach this man, who he begins shoving scooters and trying to knock him over. He is clearly distressed and engaging in violent activities. He then turns to the couple and yells to the young man, Ryan, and says, "What the F are you looking at?" And he says something, "Nothing, man." Instead of backing up and just leaving or fleeing, he stands his ground and leans in. Big mistake. This man is crazy. He then shoves the guy who approaches him. Dude, I watched a video once where there's a professional boxer and 3 guys are yelling at him. He has his hands up and he's backing away. He's walking backwards with his hands up. The guys then start aggressing and he starts doing, I don't know what it's called, but he does like the side steps with his fists up. Again, retreating in a defensive position, not engaging, not attacking. The guys then lunge at him and he goes, bang, knocks one out. The guy swings, bang, knocks one out. See, that's a fighter. A guy who knows and understands what it means to be in a fight. He was trying his hardest not to fight. He was backing away. And the reason he didn't turn his back to the guys, because they'd hit him in the back. So he kept up a defensive position. I'm not telling you I'm a good fighter. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying y'all need to understand conflict resolution, survival, first aid, all of these things. Here's what happens next. I'm offended by this video. And I'm sad for these people, but it's a lesson people need to learn. Y'all need to, you learn from these stories. Okay? The dude pushes the guy who pulls out a knife, and it looks like it's a 6-inch blade of some sort. It's serious business. Again, instead of fleeing, the girlfriend, did she run? Just stands there. She should have started to run. The boyfriend has now distracted the deranged man. The girlfriend should go. In fact, the boyfriend should have said, "Go, run, now." She doesn't. She stands there. She could have died. The man then puts his hand up behind him like this and does this effeminate push to his chest. The man then, the murderer, takes a wide stance, like a combat stance. The victim turns in panic and trips into the bus bench they were sitting on because he was not situationally aware nor paying attention at 4 a.m. in New York City where crime is skyrocketing. As he falls down, the murderer slams twice or maybe 3 times into the chest of the victim. Now, at first, I had said, I clarified this, I don't know the full circumstances of the injuries. And I believe there's a strong possibility it was a sucking chest wound. The reason why I often bring that up is because I know personal stories of people who have died when they should not have. And the scary thing about it is a sucking chest wound is when there's a cavity in your chest. So when you inhale, your lungs are not displacing, they're not pulling in fresh air. What's happening is you're expanding your chest and it's actually pulling air into the cavity. So your lungs aren't getting fresh air. You feel like you're breathing, but you're not. Air's not moving. And then you asphyxiate and die. And all you have to do is seal the wound. Like they say, put a credit card on it, squeeze it tight, prevent air from getting in, and you don't die. Now, what we've learned since, the police have reported that the knife pierced his heart. That's it. He was done for. It's a sad story, man, and I'm sad that it happened. But when you advocate for these policies that are soft on crime, when you advocate for politicians who believe social workers are all you need, I am not surprised this young man was led to, well, a young man, he was 32. I'm not surprised he was led to believe that when you are confronted with a deranged person, this person's apparently young, they said he was a kid. When you're confronted by a psychotic person screaming, he said, I'll effing kill you, that you push him, that you stand there, you get back. If the dude had been situationally aware, he'd be alive. His girlfriend would be fine. If when this guy walked past him, he simply said, let's go the other way, they'd be fine. But they didn't even look. I talked about this a couple weeks ago, the viral video of the man and the woman walking in the mall, and the guy goes, there's 2 exits behind me. My closest exit is still in front of me. That guy looks a little bit sketchy. Better stay away from him. Then it shows the woman going, I'm making my way downtown. The joke was the man was situationally aware. For what reason did this guy decide to confront this dude? I do not understand. But I think the issue is this man was, and I'm not trying to be a dick to the departed, he was soft. He wasn't paying attention to where he was. He was so used to the cushy, affluent lifestyle that urban liberals so often do, he did not think about anything around him. He didn't think about dangers. He didn't think about the crazy guy screaming. He didn't think about where the bus bench was. He tried to flee. Here's the other thing. The girlfriend is standing there. And I can understand a guy getting in between a deranged man and their girlfriend. I get it. Girlfriend should have ran. The guy begins to run and trips over the bus bench. And that's it. Now he's on the ground and he takes a couple hits to the chest. If he had been actively paying attention to what was around him, instead of trying to confront this guy, lean in, shove him, and tell him to chill, he'd be alive. If it wasn't for these soft on crime policies, he'd likely be alive. Now, the fault, of course, stays with the perpetrator. But my point is not to sit here and blame the victims. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I hope you all use this as a lesson to understand the importance of knowing first aid. I don't think he could have been saved if it really did pierce his heart. It's a sad story. Understand first aid. Understand situational awareness. I don't know, man. This video, it's just so crazy to watch this woman after her boyfriend is mortally wounded. She just stands there and she looks around. She's like just doing nothing. I don't think she understood. She doesn't. These people who are very anti-gun don't understand that knives are more dangerous in most circumstances, especially close quarters, high density areas. Imagine you're in a crowd and music venue. When all of a sudden you hear bangs, people will freak out. They heard a gunshot. They run. Imagine someone went into a crowd with a knife. No one would hear anything and no one would do anything. And the people who got stabbed wouldn't even know they were stabbed. That's the scary, the terrifying reality of not understanding what a knife can really do. Now in the UK, they're like, we're banning knives too. It's like, good luck with that. What we need are people to have the ability to defend themselves. But in New York, you can't. You can't carry concealed. So what do? You're going to carry a knife? That's illegal too. Yeah, it's illegal to carry knives in New York City. So obviously, if you're carrying like a kitchenware set, no one's going to complain. It's not like the UK, but yeah, knives are illegal, especially at a certain length or something like this. Doesn't matter. Criminals are going to get away with it. You see, what happened was when this guy mortally wounded the girl's boyfriend, she didn't know what happened. She didn't realize. And this is true. The only reason people know they get shot is because they hear a bang. And sometimes they didn't even know. They check. They're like, was I just hit? They don't know. People don't get it. When it comes to knives, there are several stories where people take some serious hits from like a 5 or 6 inch blade. Your adrenaline's pumping. You don't know you got hit. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to make you cringe right now. I'm going to make you cringe right now, and I'm warning you, okay? You're not going to want to envision what I'm about to tell you. So for those that don't, it's not so bad. It's just going to make you wince. When I was 18, I had a backpack with gear in it. I had skate tools. I'd carry my skateboard with it. And I carried a change of clothes if I was going to be staying at like a friend's house or whatever. And I carried a face razor. And I'm an idiot. I reached into my bag looking for my skate tool. And I was just like, I'll find it. And I'm feeling around. And I feel something and it feels weird. And I'm like, what is this? It's like a weird feeling. I can't figure out what it is. And then I feel wet. And then I pull my hand out and my thumb is covered in blood. It's my face razor. I didn't know I was slicing my thumb open with the razor. It wasn't that bad. I ran my finger across it a couple times and sliced it up. And I was like, oh, I'm such an idiot. People assume that you're going to know when you're hit because you'll feel all this pain. But if you're not expecting it, sometimes you don't even notice. And what happens with blades is they say, I don't know if it's true, but it goes between the nerves or something like this. Man, all I really want to say, I guess I can just stop harping on this. I watched the uncensored full version of this. The censored version, you don't see how the hits happened. You just see the guy in the ground. And I assumed it was probably like a sucking chest wound because this is what happens when you get stabbed in the chest typically. But I guess it went to his heart. This young man was upset. There's a woman who walks in a frame and she has something like, Brian, don't hurt him or something like that. And he kicks the guy after mortally wounding him. Wanted for murder. I think what happened was this guy got into a fight with a girlfriend or something, lost his mind, and then just in a blind rage, killed a guy. Passion murder for no reason. Some of the people are saying that he was on a rampage and they just got in his way. It's really simple, my friends. If you are in any area and you see someone who's acting strange, you go the other direction. You walk the other direction. It's that simple. But you know what? So many of these urban liberals are scared of being called racist when they do that, clutching their purse or crossing the street. I don't care what you call me. And I don't care what you look like, dude. It doesn't matter. You know, it'd be funny if people begin mugging others while wearing suits, because then no one sees it coming. I implore you all, get self-defense training. I implore you to get first aid training and just something basic. You get rusty quick. You forget a lot of things. But there are some instances where a single sentence can save your life. I learned something interesting when I did hostile environment training. I learned that a lot of people don't understand how tourniquets work. I didn't believe it, but it's true because I witnessed it with people in training who did not understand. So we were talking about femoral bleeds and how quickly you can die if your femoral artery is hit. Carotid as well. And the people who are applying tourniquets were told by the instructor, you need to put the tourniquet above the wound, right? Which means it needs to be closer to your hip to stop the greater flow of blood from the rest of your body exiting the wound. And they explained to us that many people will put the tourniquet beneath the wound, and the blood keeps coming. And they don't understand. They don't get that a tourniquet is putting pressure to cut the supply of blood to the area where it is leaking out of the body. And then I watched people who were explicitly told this making that mistake. Like, blood is coming out of your arm. Stop the blood above so that no blood goes to the arm. They don't get it. And that's why people need training. And it's like for a lot of people who don't know that, a single sentence, and it could save someone's life. The other thing, too, is people don't know how to make tourniquets. Yo, seriously, you rip a T-shirt and you get a pen. You need something for leverage. And again, this is not me giving you advice or instruction because I'm just some random dude who took a first aid kit. You go, of course, you go take your course. But one thing they pointed out is you can take a belt, you take a shirt or a cloth, you wrap it, and then you tie a knot around a pen and spin the pen, and it will tighten. And then you can like fold it into itself so it holds. There's a lot of things you can do. I'm not the expert on this. My point is just this guy was so comfortable in New York City. They're so safe in their bubble. They do not realize how bad it's getting. But you get it. I made my point. I kind of ranted a little bit longer than I expected. I'll leave it there. Man. We know that crime is getting worse, but next segment's coming up at 6 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.